You're watching Bub's Comics, Bub.
Hello YouTube, welcome to Bub's World. I'm your host Bub. Today you're watching Bub's Comics and we are going to get into some pretty cool backings of community stuff. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. All right, let's get right to it. So one of my favorite artists to see at a convention or anywhere for that matter, or anytime he's putting out new stuff, is a guy named Sam Payne. So this is a book just to give you an illustration of the illustrations that he does in general. Here's a book that he sent me that is it's an Archie book, obviously. So, and this is a fully published Archie book, so he's a published artist. And he puts me in the mind of Bruce Timm, a little bit more innocent, a little bit more playful, but still a very strong Bruce Timm approach, in my opinion. A little bit of Dan Parent mixed with Bruce Timm. Very nice stuff. I really, really enjoy it. So, of course, Dan Parent, one of the big artists for Archie right now. And here is Sam Payne doing this work. So, then also, he puts out a book of his own. And here we have Vector Girls. Now, this is volume 2. Now, I already have volume 1. I've shown it in a previous video. You can check that out. But Vector Girls volume 2, and this just has, it's so good. Of course, right there, the Nuka-Cola girl, and then you can see a lot of the interior art here, and it's not, it's cute, sexy, but it's not like risque. Like there's no, maybe it's a little risque, but there's no nudity in his art unless you request it specifically. But very good stuff. This is kind of my favorite kind of art. It's not, I do like some of the more mature stuff, but looks like Jessica Rabbit there, but you know, I like the stuff that is more kind of in between, playful, kind of more of a playful hotness as opposed to just overt, you know, sloppiness all over the cover. So very cool stuff. So I've been wanting to get a commission by Sam for some time. I've seen him at a lot of conventions, and so I really wanted to get something done by him. Now, he agreed, and he's actually been hitting me up trying to get me to do a few things with him. So finally, we agreed on something, and I had a vision. And the way that I like to do most of my original art, especially the commissions, is I don't just tell them, hey, draw me a character. You know, if that was the case, I would just buy whatever original art's already available. But when someone has a specific style and I have the vision and I don't have any artistic talent, so if I can give them an idea and they can run with it and make something beautiful out of it, I say run with it. I say generally exactly what I want, with extreme detail, and sometimes even send references because I have an idea in my head, and this is the second time that it has ever come out, the third time it's ever come out so well. And here is original art by Sam Payne. I sent him this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 variant, and what I told him is that I wanted April O'Neil in her classic yellow jumpsuit, right? Her news reporter jumpsuit. And if you remember the little communicators that they had from the cartoon, so the turtles all had like a pop open communicator, and April had like a compact mirror, like for powder or makeup or whatever. She had like a compact mirror she would open up, and that was her communicator. So I said, I want her to be obscuring herself with the compact mirror, you know, and almost like she's taking a selfie in the mirror. And this is what he sent. Is that not exactly what I asked for? I mean, just perfect. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, great curves, perfect hair. I mean, he just did an amazing job. So you can see right there exactly what I was talking about. Like she's kind of taking a selfie in the mirror with her compact and just covered. It's obviously risque, but it's more what you don't see that gets you excited than what you see on this one. So, and that's the way I like it. Just right in that sweet spot. So Sam, I want to thank you again for this amazing piece of art. Definitely gonna cherish it. I need to get some more gator guards, guys. I'm out of gator guards. I keep meaning to place an order. I've got original art on comic covers just multiplying, and I don't have anything to put them in, and those are my favorites. I think they're way better than all the other alternatives, other than like maybe an actual slab, which costs way too much for original art. Like, I don't care about the grade. So thanks again, Sam. Just absolutely love it. There's a thumbnail cheese shot. We'll see if that makes it. Okay, so another project I backed was a Kickstarter. He's a member of the comic community, although I don't really fool with him that much, which is odd because I should, because we collect a lot of the same stuff. But Alan, the comic collector geek, he helped with a Kickstarter, or he lent some portion of himself in some way to this Kickstarter. I'm going to stay positive because the Kickstarter itself, I think, was not well run. I don't know how much of it he had to do with it, but he put his sticker in the giveaways in one of the reaching things, whatever, goals. But I just really love the cover. I love the idea of this, and I loved pretty much everything about it except the actual Kickstarter. But here is Vixens of the Golden Age. There you go. So very cool. Vixens of the Golden Age. And that is a black cat on the cover. And they had a few different covers to choose from. So this was the one that I wanted because I just really liked the image overall. I thought it was very well done. So there's the black cat cover, but there were a lot of great covers. You really couldn't go wrong. And then I'll just briefly go through some of the items that were in it. Actually, I'll show the book too. So it's very well done. It has a lot of kind of pinups, and it gives you like a description. I think Alan wrote the intro, but it shows you, and it's got artists that I collect, like Dean Yeagle, and there's some more good stuff. Of course, Bullet Man, Bullet Girl. I mean, it's got a lot of great stuff. I mean, Judy of the Jungle here, Miss Fury. So, you know, I'm a fan of this kind of stuff. I think more of this should be done with the Golden Age stuff because it's all, you know, there's a great Dean Yeagle. So that was one of the, it's kind of Mandy cosplaying as I don't know, Moon Girl, I think. Yeah, from EC Comics. So, and that came in a couple of different varieties. And then they had, for the freebies, there were a lot of this stuff, and it was kind of just on, you know, stickers or little postcards or stuff like that. So, which I thought was pretty cool. Señorita Rio. So, very cool stuff. I really, really dig the book. Like I said, I'm trying not to be too negative about the Kickstarter. But here's what I'll say about the Kickstarter. So here's the only thing. Here's my only criticism of the Kickstarter. Is that I've never seen one, and you all, maybe some of you do more than I do, but I've never seen one that didn't tell you what the stretch goals were beforehand, and then made the stretch goals purchasable items. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That is so backwards to every other Kickstarter that I've ever been a part of. When I back a Kickstarter, it tells me what the goals are. Sometimes they add goals along the way, but those are things that if they get enough backers, they just give you for free. This was like, oh, well, if we get X number of backers, then we'll release another cover that's available to purchase. Well, I've already bought one cover. Why would I go buy another cover, I mean, I'm sure that the people who produced this feel like everyone should have run out and bought every cover, but that's unrealistic and quite silly. Most of the time, you know what the covers are. Maybe you release the original art or some big ticket item that you make available for sale. I understand that. But for the most part, all the items should be available from the moment the Kickstarter launches. That way you're not penalizing the early backers, as I was. You penalize the early backers by not having their choice of cover because you're holding back the other covers until more backers show up. Doesn't make any sense. So that's my little criticism of that. But we'll keep it positive for the most part. It's still a fantastic book. The product itself is fantastic. I hope that they make more of these. Volume 2, 3, 4. There's certainly more heroines that were not discussed in this volume. So hopefully there's more with similar artists. There's still a couple of amazing working artists out there that I think would be a great fit for this, but I'm sure no one's asking my opinion, especially after this video. So there you go. Vixens of the Golden Age. And then also I picked up another piece of original art from a community member. I don't do a lot of that, so you guys can hit me up if you want and say, hey, I got a bunch of this stuff, but this one kind of stuck with me, and I saw it and I just looked at it, and it's a simple character to draw, I know, but when I saw it, I just said, I could pay, $100, $200, $300 to any artist on Artist Alley at a convention and still not get a better image of this character on a cover. And this guy had already had it ready to go for sale, and all I had to do was message him and say, I'll take that. And I did. And here's Fantastic Four #1. And this one's done by community member Izzy of the Izzyverse. So I just think that's pretty damn good. Like I said, I know it's not like an earth-shattering type art, but this is a simple artistic character. It's a simply drawn character, but people screw this up a lot. Like, I've seen lots of things out there, if you will, that I didn't think were very good at all. So he did a fantastic job, and I honestly believe that if I had requested the thing from any single artist that I know, any artist, any working artist, anybody who's getting paid to do 10 variants for Marvel or Dynamite or whatever, I don't think I'd have found a better representation of the Thing on that cover. I think he looks mean and tough and full of rocks and old blue eyes. I don't know what more you want. Every time I look at it, it makes me smile, and I was so glad that he offered it for sale at such a reasonable price, no less, and I was just really, really pleased with it. So good on you, Izzy. I think this is great art, and I honestly believe that I couldn't have paid an artist to do any better than this anywhere down Artist Alley, not to mention for what you charge for it, but just period. They could have named their price, and I would have been just as happy to receive this art from them as I am to get it from you. So super cool. Thanks again. And I'm out of gated guards, but when I get one, we're going to throw it up on the wall somewhere. So that's it. Thank you all for stopping by. Another episode of BUB'S Comics in the books. And we'll catch you next time in BUB'S World. Remember to read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. Bye-bye.
Now subscribe, you egg-sucking pieces of gutter trash. Now.